Hello, my name is Kazim Omidiji, the Director of Community Relations at San Diego Gas and Electric, and also one of 4,600 employees who work at SDG&E regionally. As the cost of living continues to rise here in our region, many families are challenged with providing for their own basic needs to thrive within our communities. That's why SDG&E is investing $10 million in shareholder funding through our Community Assistance Fund to help provide transformational level grants to our local nonprofits and expand their essential services to those who need it the most. Our grants will provide tangible, on-the-ground support such as food pantries and emergency rental assistance for those at risk of food insecurity and homelessness. At SDG&E, our values to do the right thing, champion people, and shape the future governs everything that we do. Together, we can create a stronger, healthier community where everyone thrives.
CBS 8 is always working for you, but we're not the only ones working for our community. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jenny Day. To make our community as strong and resilient as possible, it requires the help of everyone, from our neighbors and community leaders to our incredible nonprofit organizations and strong business sector. One local company is now hoping to create transformative change in our most vulnerable communities. San Diego Gas and Electric recently announced they have awarded $10 million in grants to 21 local nonprofits through their Community Assistance Fund. This is SDG&E's single largest one-year charitable initiative ever. CBS 8's Heather Myers talked with Kazim Omidiji, the Director of Community Relations at SDG&E, about how this program will help people all across the region.
Tell us all about this program and why SDG&E decided to do this.
Yes, so this is the San Diego Gas and Electric Community Assistance Fund, and it's geared to, and it's $10 million of shareholder funding towards nonprofit organizations that provide direct benefits and services to San Diego residents and South Orange County. Now, the main reason for this is over the last several years, we understand the challenges facing the communities that we serve and live in. And really, this grant initiative is focused towards two particular focus areas, one being housing stability, and the second being food security. And housing stability can be in the form of rental assistance, whereas food security can be in the form of emergency food and food distribution and food delivery service.
You made the announcement in early spring that you were looking for applications for local nonprofits to throw their hat in the ring for all of this. They have been selected. The checks have been handed out, but tell us about some of the 21 different San Diego nonprofits who are recipients.
Yes, we're very proud of the grant slate of 21 nonprofits and community-based organizations that will be receiving these grants. A couple that come to mind. The first, Support the Enlisted Project, STEP, which provides support towards transitioning military veterans as well as military families. And so they provide rental support, bill support, as well as financial literacy support as a wraparound services as a part of this expansion of our grant opportunity. Another that comes to mind is the Union of Pan-Asian Communities, or otherwise known as UPAC, and they are providing culturally diverse food pantries. And so imagine being able to see and eat and feel something from your hometown. And it really provides a sense of belonging, a sense of home, and a sense of comfort during these challenging times.
Those are just two of 21 different names. Was it hard to narrow it down? I know you probably had a long list of people who would like to have had some of this. Yeah,
so we had over 180 letters of intent, which we pared down to close to about 40 requests for proposals, and that was then initially brought down to the 21 list of nonprofit organizations. And I'll say, there's never a shortage of the work and the amazing work that the nonprofits do, and we're proud to support them and invest in their program and their mission and beliefs, because it invests in the community and it invests in the struggling times that we are all facing as a community here in San Diego.
Kazim, you touched on this a moment ago, but ratepayers might be asking, where is the $10 million coming from? You mentioned it from shareholders, but can you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, so again, it is specifically from shareholder funding. It is not based off of customers or customer bills. And That was intentional. And the other aspect of it as well is, again, we understand the need for this initiative. We understand the struggles and the challenges. The cost of housing has increased dramatically over the last couple of years. The cost and the rise of inflation has dramatically increased over the last couple of years. And so this is just one way of San Diego Gas and Electric giving back. A lot of people ask the question, how does this really resonate with SDG&E? And it goes back to our three values of do the right thing, shape the future, and championing people. And this is just one way of us being able to impact the community in a positive and a beneficial way.
We only have about 30 more seconds here, but if there are some local organizations that might be listening to this interview and thinking, gosh, I wish I would have known about that, perhaps they're going to do it again. Are there plans to do this again, or is this something that you're going to be reevaluating?
Yeah, so this is on top and an additional to what we typically do in our charitable investments in a given year. We will reevaluate the outcomes and what comes of all of these impacts from our nonprofit organizations at the end of the year, and really designate and see what we can do for the future times for all of our charitable investments.
All right, from SDG&E, Kazim Omidaji, we do appreciate your time, and thank you so much for working for our community and being our partners in doing that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, volunteer work is near and dear to my heart, so it is really just incredible. SDG&E is also helping out local charities in other ways. For example, Feeding San Diego, which fights food insecurity across the county, says that SDG&E has donated more than 25,000 pounds of food from its downtown headquarters to the nonprofit's food rescue program. Feeding San Diego tells CBS 8 that food insecurity has grown worse since the COVID pandemic began 3 years ago now. To make things more difficult, many nonprofits are seeing fewer donations right now.
Giving across San Diego and honestly nationally and globally is down. So to see SDG&E making this type of investment is San Diego's really lucky to have a company like them to invest back in their community.
Yeah, Feeding San Diego plans to use SDG&E's grant to support its mobile pantries in rural East County. The nonprofit has 20 distribution sites in that region, providing a food lifeline to about 3,500 households.
Those parts of the county are considered food deserts. They don't have access to any grocery store, or sometimes just not really a fully stocked one. This is going to add some stability to that program and ultimately some stability to their food assistance in those areas.
Feeding San Diego says this grant could directly help out more than 10,000 people each and every month. And Feeding San Diego is just one nonprofit benefiting from SDG&E's Community Assistance Fund. There are still 20 more, including ElderHelp. Over the past 50 years, ElderHelp has been a strong advocate for San Diego's older adults, helping an estimated 6,600 seniors each and every year. CBS 8's Jeff Zevely spoke with ElderHelp CEO before their special charity auction to learn more about their mission.
I'm hosting an event this Sunday with ElderHelp, with a special lady in mind. For nearly 50 years, ElderHelp has supported seniors
tangerines, oranges,
live independently in their own homes.
90% of most of us do want to stay in our homes as we age and get older if we can, and most of us can't afford the means of long-term care.
Deb Martin, the CEO of ElderHelp, had a special connection with her mother Jane, as I did with my grandmother Ethel.
What's your story about Ethel and your relationship with her?
My grandma's husband, my grandfather, died in a car crash. She lived alone her entire life. And we helped her live alone for decades.
She probably couldn't have done that without all of you either. And it's so hard for people to imagine what it's like if people don't have family, and what does it look like if they don't have a Jeff or a Deb showing up.
ElderHelp creates a customized plan for every senior, providing food, home maintenance, and sometimes just a friend.
Once we get to a certain age, we become invisible, especially because we're isolated living at home.
Chris Mursky, the transportation coordinator, says hundreds of volunteers deliver food to seniors in 40 San Diego County zip codes.
Amazing group of people that have stepped up in a absolutely incredible way.
This Sunday, Deb will be my co-host as we honor ElderHelp's award-winning volunteers and corporate sponsors.
If I start flubbing up there, you'll cover for me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
You're kidding?
good.
And vice versa, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll be partners. Holiday Angels!
That same team spirit comes alive every December with ElderHelp's Holiday Angels program. Virginia is blind, but some gifts are so special, it's what you feel, not what you see.
Poinsettia touches your heart.
I used to give my grandmother a poinsettia on Christmas too, and it's people like Deb Martin who love every senior like their own.
I just do. For the same reasons that you mentioned.
In the Zevely Zone, Jeff Zevely, CBS 8.
Yeah, and CBS 8 recently spoke with ElderHelp to learn more about the auction's success. They said thanks to the publicity generated by CBS 8 and Jeff Zevely, they had their single most successful event ever. In addition to this auction, the grant given by SDG&E will support ElderHelp and their plans to expand across North County. In fact, ElderHelp says this grant may be the largest one they ever received. CEO Deborah Martin was driving to the airport with ElderHelp's Director of Philanthropy when they got a surprise phone call and learned that big news.
They started out kind of sounding like it was going to be bad news. And then she just kind of casually said, "Oh, I just want to let you know, we're going to give you guys $250,000 for your proposal." And we both started crying, which was kind of a problem because we were driving. We are not always used to be included in grants of that size when awards go out like that. So we were very grateful.
Wow, so this grant will also help the nonprofit expand their home share program, which connects people at risk of homelessness with those living in existing housing options. Over the past 16 years, this program has matched more than 1,000 people together to support long-term housing stability.
1 in 4 seniors in San Diego County are homeless. That number really is just staggering. So this fund helps us to address that in a really meaningful way to people.
80% of each dollar raised by ElderHelp goes right back into their community programs. ElderHelp says SDG&E's grant will likely support thousands of San Diego seniors. Well, many more groups are also working for our community here in San Diego. One of them, MAAC, was just named a California Nonprofit of the Year for helping more than 100,000 San Diegans annually. MAAC, which stands for the Metropolitan Area Advisory Committee, offers a variety of resources all under one roof. Few other nonprofits have a similar diversity of services, which includes systematic solutions for health and housing. How much of an impact does MAAC have on San Diego? Well, MAAC says that their annual regional economic impact exceeds $200 million.
We truly strive to lead the way.
These are the many MAAC faces, the success stories from our community that brightly line the hall.
I am extremely proud of all my MAAC stories that we have.
MAAC stands for the Metropolitan Area Advisory Committee, but when it started nearly 60 years ago, it stood for the Mexican American Advisory Committee.
It was created to help Mexican Americans achieve management level positions within government functions. And because the opportunities were not there.
Now they help everyone wanting a better life.
The families, they want to become self-sufficient. They want to be able to go to the next step and the next job, the next training, the next immigration status.
As MAAC does big things for our community, they are getting big recognition as well. As a leading provider of social services, MAAC was chosen as the 2023 California Nonprofit of the Year by Assembly Member Lori Davies.
Our focus is an economic development organization, but we add housing components, we add education components, we add health programs as well.
If you want a better job, MAAC provides workforce training, help with high water bills, college scholarships, even free preschool for families who fall below the federal poverty level.
When our children are able to go into kindergarten, they're excelling. Like most teachers, they'll know that's a MAAC child. They came from the Head Start program just because the child is so prepared for it.
The goal is to get you on the path to self-sufficiency. MAAC can also help you get on the list for low-income housing. They have built and now manage more than 1,000 units. $130 million was invested in real estate just last year. A project for homeless seniors in San Ysidro is currently in the works.
95% of the populations we serve are low income.
You can just show up at any of their 39 locations across San Diego County or start with an online application. I'll put that link on CBS8.com. Reporting in Chula Vista, Jenny Day, CBS 8. And MAAC is just one of many local organizations helping people pursue long-term housing stability. For decades, the people at Father Joe's Villages have been working to help solve the homelessness crisis. But this crisis is still growing. Recent numbers show there's been a 22% spike in homelessness compared to last year. In June, as the city of San Diego considered a possible homeless encampment ban, Deacon Jim Vargas from Father Joe's sat down with CBS 8's Heather Myers to talk about possible solutions to this issue.
I'm going to jump right into the numbers that I just shared with our viewers. When you heard those numbers, a 22% increase, again, that is countywide, year over year. What went through your mind?
Well, it's very sobering, but not surprising. I mean, we see it day in and day out, especially down in the East Village area. The number of encampments have grown exponentially over the years during the COVID time, basically. So it's been the last 3 years or so. So I'm not surprised that the numbers have been growing. You know, last year's number had grown by 10% from the prior year. And now, as you say, it's 22% additionally. So there's a lot to be done.
We hear this particular issue makes headlines daily, and especially lately. San Diego Mayor Tom Gloria has one solution to all this, which is to ban encampments if there are shelter beds available. Earlier today, we heard from former Mayor Kevin Faulkner and the former police chief, Shelley Zimmerman, who said that doesn't go far enough. We need to make sure that the shelter beds available have what they call a bridge program, meaning mental health services and drug and addiction help services. What do you think is the right approach here in order to make a dent in some of these numbers? Watching them grow exponentially certainly means we have not found any sort of solution.
Well, behavioral health is a big issue, and you point to that. So we know that about 30% of those who are on the streets suffer from some level of behavioral health issues, whether it's a substance use disorder or just mental health challenges, right? So most definitely there needs to be a focus there. I mean, then we need, pure and simple, we need more shelter beds. I mean, at the end of the day, we know that a shelter is not what breaks the cycle of homelessness. A home does, and we can talk about that, but we also know that we don't have enough affordable housing. So in the interim, what we need are shelter beds, and we don't have enough shelter beds. I mean, of the 10,300 individuals who are homeless now in the city of in the county of San Diego, excuse me, half of them are on the streets, right? So there's a lot more that needs to get done.
What's your capacity on average?
For us, we're 90 to 95% capacity each and every single day, and that's also the experience of other providers in the area as well. So the shelter beds are utilized. I mean, there's a transient aspect to it, obviously. So those a few shelter beds that turn over on a daily basis, but for the most part, we're at capacity. So we need more shelter beds, and we need varied shelter beds. We also know from experience and from having conversations with those on the streets that they don't necessarily, many don't want congregate setting. So while we have a lot of the shelter beds are congregate beds, we also need to focus on non-congregate settings as well. We know that individuals who suffer from PTSD or are victims of the domestic violence or have anxiety disorder can't be in a congregate setting, so we need some more congregate beds. We also know those numbers to which you refer, by the way, show that there's an increase in the number of seniors who are falling onto the streets. Seniors have special needs, right? So if there's a bunk bed type of situation, we know they can't be in the top bunk. Sure. So we need to provide the lower bunk. We also know that they have health issues as well, especially if they've been chronically on the streets. So we need to be able to have those resources available. So the point here is that we really need to target our efforts to be most effective.
When you hear that, you know, there's a number of different organizations, but what are you specifically doing at Father Joe's to try and make a difference and to help some of these individuals?
Well, again, it's meeting people where they are. So it's making sure that we assess their situations so we can apply the right resources so we can be most effective with the dollars that we have. And the dollars are limited, right? So as an example, sober living. we find that individuals, especially if they've been within substance use disorder for a period of time and have kicked that habit and now want a sober living type of an environment because they don't want to be tempted. And so we're providing more sober living space so that we have individuals who can focus on their health needs, focus on employment, and then lift themselves up and move forward. So that's just one example, right? Sober living. We also are focusing on there are women on the streets. We know, by the way, the latest point in time count, not only are there more seniors falling onto the streets, there are more women falling onto the streets. It's difficult enough to be homeless, more difficult if you're a woman, and then we have some women who are pregnant, right, and they have to make some difficult decisions. So we have a program that's focused on women who are pregnant specifically, right, so we can help them in their situation, be able to provide prenatal care for them, and then postnatal care as well once the children are born. Just in the past year, we've had 6 babies born into the village, right? And so again, it's what's out there and how can we be responsive to them.
How can San Diegans who might be hearing this interview and saying, I see them, I mean, it's hard not to, no matter what community you might live in, what can they do to help? And if they want to, be able to give to Father Joe's, where does that money go specifically?
The money goes directly to the services is what it comes down to. So you can visit our website, it's mine.neighbor.org, so my.neighbor.org, and there you can see first of all, programs, many programs, but also ways you can help. Volunteers, we love our volunteers. It's important that we get people not only serving meals with us in our dining rooms, we serve 1 million meals a year, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner in 2 dining rooms, but also there are other ways to be involved. We have 4 retail stores around the city, right? So you can donate lightly used articles, donate. Just prior to coming here, someone contacted me, he has a boat, he wants to donate, right? I love it, because those we don't sell in the retail stores, but those we're able to auction off as well. We have auction houses, we're able to do that, cars as well. So anything that you have that can be turned around either because we sell it or we auction it, or and turned it to the proceeds into services, basically. Everything goes to the bottom line, to helping people.
Well, hopefully by the time that you and I chat again, we will start to see a huge difference here in San Diego County.
We need to.
Absolutely. All right. Deacon Jim Vargas from Father Joe's Villages, we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for what you're doing right here in our community.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you from me as well. Now, after CBS 8's discussion with Father Joe's, the San Diego City Council voted to ban homeless encampments across most of the city. The City Council also unveiled a strategy to expand shelters and wraparound services. In a statement, Deacon Jim Vargas said that these additional changes are critical toward helping those experiencing homelessness, adding that an enforcement-only approach would harm the community. Now, since the housing crisis looms so large over San Diego, many nonprofits promote housing stability as one part of their overall mission. For example, the Sister League of San Diego is a nonprofit that supports women who were once homeless or victims of domestic violence. Now, while the Sister League has helped women for decades, they now need some outside help to deal with their own major costly repairs. CBS 8's Abby Black explains.
We want to introduce you to an incredible nonprofit in our new Working for Our Community series. For decades, Sister League of San Diego has provided a safe haven for women experiencing homelessness, trauma, mental health issues, and domestic abuse. Now it's their home that could use your help and some TLC.
A leaky roof?
We're having the water drip through here. We're starting at $30,000 easily to do the whole roof.
On the inside,
liven it up a little bit more, modernize a bit. We're kind of stuck in the past.
The past is what the women living at Sister League of San Diego want to leave behind.
I thought I was going to end up dead, or just the way my direction of life was going was not good. This place saved my life for sure.
Rebecca says that she's lived at Sister League for 1.5 years and she's overcome a life of addiction and is managing her mental illness.
I was able to build my independence and coming from trauma and whatnot. Now I'm in school. Now I'm working. Now I'm looking for the next step of getting my own place.
These steps are built with the help of Sister League of San Diego.
Sister League is a perfect example of a different plan of attack to the homelessness crisis, the mental health,
domestic abuse.
Executive Director Nuria Hera Lopez says the nonprofit is San Diego's best kept secret. It has a rich history dating back to World War II that started by helping women and children who were separated from their husbands.
Our founder, Miss Woods, her being able to see that potential in women 80 years ago is still a possibility today.
30 women who were either once homeless, victims of domestic violence, and affected by mental illness live at one of the 2 transitional homes in San Diego. The nonprofit has supportive programs to encourage work for women who are already on a path to gain stability and independence at their own pace.
We have a number of residents that are volunteering, they're working, they're going to school.
But to help build that foundation, the 1900s era homes need a lot of work.
I mean, we need new cabinetry. We have the doors have been broken off. The floors are cracking, the tile is cracking.
Paint is chipping off the walls. There's a broken oven, 4 different kinds of flooring, wood panels, a shattered window from a storm. Storage is needed for donations.
It's really important for the community to rally behind us.
The amount of repairs and renovations is more than $100,000.
A roof is important. What is a home without a roof?
A roof is what provides that support for women like Rebecca to gain their own independence.
I feel like I have a purpose now. I've never felt like that before.
If you or someone you know is a handyman or a licensed contractor, or if you would like to donate your time, money, or have any donations for Sister League of San Diego, go to CBS8.com, click on the Help button. Working for our community, Abby Black, CBS 8.
And just weeks after Abby first spoke with the Sister League, she learned that help is finally on the way. Abby recently had the chance to sit down with them to learn how the community is helping a charity that has helped so many other people.
CBS 8 continues to work for our community. Last month, we shared the story of Sister League and their need for $100,000 in renovations and furniture. The community listened, and now they're helping to deliver hope for women impacted by trauma.
Sister League has been carrying the load for a while.
We have 15 women, and we were working with just that one couch over there in the back.
Now Jerome's Furniture is helping to take some of that load off and deliver hope.
Wow.
Jerome's donated 2 new couches.
Is this storage over here? Very cool.
2 new dressers.
Yay, 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 yay.
A patio table.
Look at that. Oh, yeah.
And patio chairs with cushions.
From this to that, it makes such a difference.
CBS 8 is helping to make the difference.
It's really important for the community to rally behind us.
Last month, one of CBS 8's Working for Our Community stories featured Sister League, a nonprofit that supports 30 women who were once homeless, victims of domestic violence, or affected by mental illness. They live at one of their 2 transitional homes in San Diego, but their houses need major renovations, a roof and furniture.
Liven it up a little bit more, modernize a bit. We're kind of stuck in the past.
Jerome's saw our story and delivered.
Now we have over $100,000 in repair and work to do, and it's these things like this furniture that are taking us step by step closer to that ultimate goal.
Sister League's Executive Director, Nuria Hera Lopez, is giddy as she unwraps the chairs.
It's Christmas in July, that family feeling a bit, knocking on their doors and seeing their smiles and their pajamas as they're getting their new dressers.
Yeah, I'm super happy about it. That's very nice.
These pieces are more than just furniture.
When we get these really nice donations, it really helps kind of boost morale a bit.
The donations help Sister League continue its mission of supporting women who are already on a path to gain stability and independence at their own pace, a vision that's been carried on since Sister League was founded during World War II.
And I look at Miss Woods over there. I'm like, look at you, girl. 80 years later, and we're still getting new furniture in these houses.
And bringing together a community that continues to make the load a little bit lighter.
The Sister League just wants to give a huge thanks to CBS 8 and Jerome's for all of our great new things.
Working for our community, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Yeah, good for them. So well deserved. So many generous people in our community. So thank you for joining us, and thank you to SDG&E, the sponsor of this Working for Our Community special. I'm Jenny Day for CBS 8 Plus. Keep up the great work out there. So happy to shed light on all of the good happening in our community. See you next time, and take such good care.